Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. So today I'm going to do something a little simpler for people that are just starting out or in their early stages. So I'm going back to yet again another flower that I've already done before on my channel, but in normal flower paste. I'm going to do sweet peas. So I'll take you down to my board. Right, so the cutters that I'm going to use are these. We're going to do simple sweet peas, and it's a particular variety that I've got growing in my garden at the moment, so I'll show you one that I've already coloured, which is this one here. If you can see, just turn that around a bit so you can see this here. So I'll put it on my hand. And it's basically just a white one with a little bit of lilac on the very edge. I can't remember what it's called. I have got the seed packet somewhere, but it's a bit messy now because it had been in the cold frame with the when I started them off. Now this is optional. If you've got a small calyx cutter like that, you can make small calyx on them. I haven't done any calyx on these for the simple reason I couldn't find my cell board. So you need the little holes on the side with your grooves, and what you do is roll your paste out over the smallest hole, and then take the paste off, turn it over, and cut your calyx out. And that's all there is to it. And just thin your edges. But I haven't done it on these because it's not really necessary, because if you're doing them to go on a cake, then people aren't going to see them. So I'll just adjust my camera there a bit. So what I've done is I've made some leaves. I've done two different sizes, and I made templates from each of the leaves that I've done by if I show you here. If you go to my recent video on doing templates, I've got this light board here, and I can't plug it in at the moment because I haven't got a thing free, but it lights up, and you just put any kind of paper over the top. I've used some silicone paper here, and what I did was to put the leaves on there like that, put that over the top, light the board up, draw around the leaves, and then cut them out. So I'll just get rid of that. That's how I did that. Those were a bit dry. They were fresh when I did them originally. So then, of course, then you've got your sweet pea flowers. So, and also as well, I'm going to show you how to make the tendrils as well. I've got some little tendrils here, if you can see that. Just trying to make sure that I can see it on your camera. Just lift that up a little bit further up that way. So I do get told off by people because I've gone out of shot, and I do apologise, but it's difficult for me to look down here and look up there at the same time. I'm good, but I'm not that good, so I don't have a camera operator. Right, so we'll get on to making the flowers. So what we need to do is to make the centre first. Now there's two ways that you can make the centre for your flowers, and I'm going to use a 26 gauge green wire for this. So if I get one of those out, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut that into four. Not quite exactly the same length, but it doesn't really matter. They only have to be approximate. Now the way that I've done mine, I have got a seed pod somewhere ready dry, which is here. And what I did was I made two very small peas to go inside. Now it's up to you whether you want to do that. You could do one in, you can do it with three in, whatever you want. And then what you need then is a small cutter to cut out your centre. So I've used, no, I didn't use that one, that's too big. There it is. I've used a simple leaf cutter, but you could use a rose petal cutter as well if you want, whichever is best for you. So I've got a small piece of paste here, so what I did was I rolled tiny little balls of paste. And when I'm talking tiny, I'm talking about the size of a druggie. You know, those little balls that you put on your, that people, amateurs, put on the cakes. Because they don't know how to do anything else. So I've got a couple of those, right? So if you get one of your wires and put one ball on, bring that down a little bit, and then put another ball on, like that. Just leave a tiny little bit of a space between the two balls, like that. Just pop those to one side, pop that back over there because that's ready for colouring. And then I'm going to roll out a small piece of paste. I'll just take some more out because I need some more to cut the petals out. So I need this because this is fresh paste, so this hasn't been kneaded or anything. So we just need to knead this to get your elasticity into your paste. Put that out of the way. Don't forget, while I'm doing this, everybody, if you've got any comments about anything or any questions about anything in the videos, leave them in the comments below. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel as well if you're not already a subscriber. It's free to subscribe, it doesn't cost you anything. I don't do paid videos, not being asked to do them, and to be quite honest, I really don't want to do live things because then I'm committed depending on what I've got to do. So I can do these at ease, and it's free for everybody to watch, including the recipe for the flour paste. If you look down my list in my channel, you'll find the recipe underneath 2 or 3 of the videos that I've done. I've put the recipe in there, but there is a video showing you how to make it, so that's already there for you. So we'll get a little bit of white fat on my finger onto my board, paste onto the board, roll it really thin. Don't be frightened to get it really. The advantage with this flexible paste, flour paste, you can get it really thin. But if you're not, you can use ordinary flour paste as well. Don't forget, frightened to getting that thin either, whichever paste you're using. The only thing you've got to be careful is if you're working in porcelain, that it does shrink. So just be aware of that. Right, so I'm going to cut out one of those, like that. I'm going to cut these other petals out while I'm at it as well, so these are already done. One and one of those. Now normally in between I would let all these pieces dry. The advantage with working with a flexible paste is it does give you a lot longer to work with it because it's softer, it takes a bit longer to dry, and it doesn't dry properly either. It's still movable for quite some time afterwards, so unlike normal flour paste you don't have to worry too much. You see, I haven't even covered that up. Right, so I'm going to get my little tool out, we'll get that off, and I'm going to put that onto my pad, which needs to go into the wash by the look of it. And we'll put those on there, and then we'll come back to those in a minute. And then get this small piece I've got here onto my hand, and then you'll need your silk veining tool, and then from the centre roll out, and I'm stretching it slightly, and roll out to the other side, stretching it slightly like that. So it's more or less the shape of a rose petal, but I would still do the same thing with a small rose petal if you've got that. Right, and because you're doing that you don't need to thin the edges either, so I'm just going to turn that round now, and I'm going to turn it over so that the vein side is on the opposite side, because I'm going to glue this side. And glue this all over like that. Right, so then get your wire with your 2 balls of paste or 1 ball of paste or whatever you're doing. Pop that into the centre like that. I don't know whether this is going to stick or it's going to stay on my hand. So I'm just going to lift that up first and put it on my fingers so that I can get this round. So put your balls into the centre like that. That's it, and then just bring it round. Now bring that higher up. Now you can stretch this over. Now, so it's basically like a Cornish pasty is the best way of describing it. And just stretch it round until you've got that Cornish pasty shape like that. I'm going to show you a different way, which is an easier way if you don't want to do this. There's always an alternative way, and the last time I did it, that's the way that I did. I think I did it with 1 ball in the middle. It just looks a bit more like the pod with the peas developing inside, which is what the seeds are. They're like peas because it comes from the same family. Right, so we'll just pop that to one side to dry. Now if you want to do it this way, what you can do is to put a little hook of wire on your wire like that. Then just get a small ball of paste. Hang on, just bring that camera around this way. I think I need to stiffen that up a bit. I've got one of my things has come loose and I'm not sure which one it is. It's still moving round. It's something round the back there. Never mind. Right, so you've got your ball of paste there. You can see my camera's still moving. Then just squash it like that without rolling it out. Just squash it on the palm of your hand like that. Then glue it like that. Put your hooked wire into it like that, and then just fold it over your hooked wire like that. So you've still got the Cornish pasty effect. It just hasn't got that. You can't see the seeds inside. But if you find it easy to do that, try not to get the wire showing through like I've got there, but I'm not using this one anyway. Right, so that's 2 ways of doing your centre. As I say, you can do the other one with 1 ball of pasting if you find that easier. It's a good idea to let them dry on your wire before you do that, rather than doing it like I've done it, because it's easier to squash your paste round it when it's dry. So we'll just get those out of the way and get that paste out of the way. So we'll come back onto your petals now. I've got one here that is dry. Yep, that's the dry one. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to colour this before I put these petals on. You can do it afterwards, but it saves getting the colour all over the place. So I'm just gonna, I've got some lime green here. This is tropical lime from Edible Art, the range that I use. I'm just going to dust it lightly over like that with the green. Don't bother about putting any on the back there, because that's where you're going to glue it. Okay, so once we've done that, I'll just lay that down there. Come on to my 2 petals. Now the first one you're going to deal with is this one here with the piece out in the centre. So I'll just put it onto my hand. Oh, we've gone out of shot again. Just bear with me a second. I'm just going to turn the camera off and come back when I've sorted this out so it stops moving around. Right, sorry about that. I've managed to sort it out. It shouldn't be moving around anywhere now. I hadn't tightened a screw up at the back enough. That's what happened there. Right, so I'll just get that out of the way. So we're going to start off with this petal here, and we're going to do all this with, we're not using any veiners or anything like that, just your silk veining tool, because for a lot of people, if you haven't got veiners, this is the best way to do it. You can use the same tool for everything. Most people are not going to be able to tell the difference. So start from the centre like that, and roll out. Doesn't matter about this little bit in the middle, because that's where you're going to glue, and out on the other side as well, like that. Right, so the next thing that you need to do now is just get that off there, get it onto your finger, and then start doing a section at a time with your end of your Sylvan tool up in the air, and just go around the edge just to frill the edge so it's not flat, and just go all the way around like that. And then the same thing on the other side. Right, so once you've done that, pop that to one side. So what we're going to do is we're going to glue that onto the centre now. Now probably the easiest way to do it is to glue down the back of this rather than gluing on there. You can do it either way, there isn't a right way or a wrong way of doing it. Right, so the easiest way to get it on is if you try and get this with your vein side downwards onto the back of there like that, and turn it over. Whoops. Like that. Oh. Might be a good idea if you put your centre down on your board. This is probably the easiest way of doing it. Get hold of your wire, turn that over, and just lay that on the top like that. Just pat that down. Then when you've got it stuck, then this little bit at the bottom, the little tab, just adjust that round the back, then just turn it over to make sure you've got it central like that. And then what I would do then is to put that into some foam like that, and just leave that to dry like that. Now then I'm going to put the back onto this because it doesn't matter, because I'm not using this one, so I'm just going to go on to the next step. Reason being, I forgot to leave one that was dry so I could do this. Again, start in the centre, roll out, and going round in a fan motion like that. See how thin I've got the paste? You can see my hand through it. That's how thin your paste wants to be. The thinner it is, the better it frills actually, without leaving a ridge around the edge, I should say. Start in the centre and start doing it in a section at a time, rolling like that and going round, lifting it off gently because it does stick to your finger a bit. If you get a little tear in it, don't worry. Nothing perfect in nature, green fly have been at it. Some people go to a lot of trouble in competition to do that, to make them look more realistic, you know. I've seen them burning holes into leaves and all sorts of things to make things look real. And then there was one year when it was fashionable to have raindrops on them, which you do with some piping jelly. Make little ladybirds and other insects to go on them as well. So that's frilled, so that can go onto there like that. I've just picked a hair up from somewhere. Not one of mine because it's a curly one, so I don't know whose that is. Right, so I'm going to glue half of that halfway down like that in the centre, and then get your other part, which should have dried by now, and pop that on there like that. Just press down so that's attached, turn it over and just bring that bottom bit round again like that. So now you've got the two layers. Now if you've let this dry a bit, that should be lifted up slightly, but we're not bothered about that because we're not going to use it anyway. So what you'll end up with is, hang on, I did have one dry, look, there we are, I did have a dry one. Smack my hands for not remembering what I've done. Right, so we'll start that bit again. I can show you that now, how I actually did it. So I'd already dried that in the foam as I'd shown you, and then Where's my cutter? What are we done with it? There. Then cut your back cutter out. So I'm going over this again for you. Get that onto your hand like that, and vane it again like we did before. Out in the fan motion. Doesn't matter if you stretch it, that's fine. Better if you do, you get a better shape. A lot of cutters are made so that you can stretch them depending on what kind of flower you're making. So a lot of them you have to do something with it to make it look realistic. You can't just cut it out and stick it on as it is. I mean, if people haven't learned how to do it properly, might think that's how you do it, but you don't. I presume somebody that's designed the cutters in the first place has probably had to tell the makers how they want the cutter making so that they can do whatever it is that they're going to do to it. Right, so that's frilled now. So I can get that onto, I'll put that onto here. It's a bit difficult on this pad for you to see. Have I got my, oh, I've got my yellow pad here. That'll do. That'll be easier for you to see. It's a bit difficult when you're doing white on white. So I'll put that onto the yellow pad there. And then glue down that, halfway down it like that. Get your now dried flower that you've done onto the top like that, push that down, turn it over. That's just slid round a little bit, so just bring that round to the right place, and just tuck that round at the bottom there. So then you've got your flower like that. Now it depends how you want your petals to be, but what I did with mine, if I get my foam over again, I put it that way down with the back on it, and you can lift the back up a little bit if you want, so that that goes over there, so it's standing off a little bit off the flower when it's dried. So I'll just pop that over there, get rid of that and that. Now when that's dried, at this stage you can make your calyx. Now I'm going to do one by hand just to show you, so I'm not going to do them on these. But if you're doing it by hand, you'll see why you need the little pimple bit on the board. So you need a small ball of paste, and you need to do the Mexican hat bit, and the centre of it needs to be really, really small. So you need the small cell pins to roll this out, but with the pimple back on the board, it's a lot easier to do. Like that, onto your board, and then with a small cell pin, which I've got here, the tiniest one, but like a cocktail stick, then roll out with it. Because it's so small, you need a delicate touch to do this. You need to get really into the pimple if you're doing it by hand like that. If you're doing it with the Mexican hat board, all you do is just roll it out over the board and it does it all for you. So if you've got one of those boards with the Mexican hat holes and the grooves, I would suggest using that if you want to do the calyx. So you need to check your calyx over the top to make sure that fits. There we are. Cut that out. And that's stuck into cutter, so just with the rounded end of your tool, that end, just pop that out like that. So you've got your little calyx there. Then with the rounded end of that, I'm just going to go into the centre there just to bring that up a little bit like that. Now, I'm not going to put any glue on this because I haven't done all the calyx on all the other ones, so I'm just going to get one that I've done just to show you. So if you get that between your two fingers like that, and then bring that up like that, up to there, and that goes round the base of that bit there. so you can see there the calyx. So if you want to do that, that's fine. I'm not doing them because I can't find my board. Right, so the next thing is your leaves. So while I've got the green out, I'll just get rid of that bit of white. Put that in the bag. I'm just going to do one of each leaf. I've already got my templates made up here somewhere when I find what I've done with them. They're under all these bits somewhere. No, can't find them. Right, so I'm going to have to do them freehand. But if you've made the templates, just use the paper templates. They'll turn up when I'm not looking for them. They always do when I'm doing these demonstrations. I couldn't find something earlier on, so a lot of things have got moved around. That's why I can't see where I've put my templates. And they're not on there with the... In fact, I can use the leaves as a template for this exercise because I've already got them here. They've dried a bit, so so we have got a template there, and you'll be able to see it better than the paper ones that I've already made. Whenever you make any of these paper templates for anything, get yourself a plastic carton, like a margarine container or something like that, and stick your paper templates on it and then cut round it again so you've got it in plastic. And then if it's something that you're going to do a lot of, then you've got your templates there all ready for you. Now, something that I remembered that I haven't done before I started doing this video, and for anybody that hasn't got loads of cutters and things like that that would like to start off by using templates and that, I got an email from somebody that I follow on the internet, and she makes wafer paper flowers, and she's brought a book out full of templates. So what I will do is, underneath the video I'll put a link into it. You can buy the book full of templates. I'll just show you it now. I've got it here. Just bear with me a second. In fact, the website address is probably on the front of it. No, it's not. Is it? There's a lot of templates in here. Loads of templates. I'll just show you one of them. Where are we? Her name is, it's me, Chef Anna. And what I'll do is I'll put the link in underneath, and you can buy this book for £6, and it's full of templates. I can't give you the templates because she's got the copyright on them, and it's unfair of me to duplicate that. But I mean, for £6 you can buy the whole thing, and you've all sorts of different I think, have I got a list here of what's in it? I don't know, it's a list in here. Usually there's a... Yeah, you've got assorted leaves, autumn leaves, dusty miller, eucalyptus, ginkgo biloba, fall leaves, ivy leaves, palm leaves. You've got mini butterflies, watercolour butterflies, cake decor, feathers, hearts, pointed flowers, and then you've got Alströmera anemone, anthurium, Calla lily clematis, cosmos, daffodil, daisy, dogwood, fantasy flower, floral applique, gardenia, hellebore, hibiscus, hydrangea, orchid, pansy, parrot tulip, poinsettia, poppy, protea, sweet pea, water lily, wedding flowers, and wild rose. And she has got pictures of cakes in here as well that she's done, some ideas, and as I say, you've got templates in it. If I get to, there we are, that's the Alströmera one. So you've got the leaves, and you've got the petals as well. They're not quite the same as my cutters, but they are sort of fairly botanically correct actually, are those. So as I say, you can see how much... I've got stuck there. you can see, if I show you this side on, how many pages you've got. You've actually got, if I can get to the back, I'll tell you how many pages you've got. Oh, there's a web addresses on there. 49 pages. So that'll give you an idea of how much there is, and plus the ones that I've already told you about that are in there. But I will put her, I'll get the link from my email from her, and I'll put the link in so you can just click on it then. What, I forgot what I was doing. Oh, I'm doing leaves. I've done that too thin now. That's what you get for talking. Just bear with me a second. So we'll start off again. Now I have done my leaves fairly thin. If I could show you one on here so you can see what I've done. They are quite thin. So you can still move them around because these have been made a couple of days now. So they're still very flexible. Right, I won't do it quite as thin this time. Then I'm going to use my ridge rolling pin. If you've got the groove rolling board, then do it on there. You'll need to do it fairly thin because you'll have your groove on the other side. But we don't do leaves quite as thin as we do petals because they are a little bit more fleshy. Right, so all I've done is I've just laid a leaf on top of the groove like that. And then just gently with the finger on one side, you can either do like I've done before, cut a piece out and then cut it out, or you can do it just this way, just by holding it in place and just going round it like that. Doesn't matter if it's not exact. That's a large one. Then if I do a small one, where's the small leaf? There it is. Now the veiner that I've used for it, because the veining's not very heavy on sweet pea leaves, so the one that I've used is actually a pansy veiner. Let's get that off of there, like that. Take that paste away. Put that away. And then, now I've got that paste a little bit thick at the top there, so I'm going to show you something with that as well, because some people struggle a bit thinning the edges if the paste is a bit on the thick side. I mean, we've been told in competition it doesn't matter if it's thick in the middle as long as it's thin on the edges, which, as I've said before, I don't totally agree with that, because that's me being me. But it does mean in competition it is allowed as long as the flower looks delicate if you've got your edges thin enough. But sometimes if your paste is a bit thick in the middle, what happens is you end up with a ridge around the edge. So I'll just pop those both onto there. Get my medium ball tool. Now that's quite thick at the edges. You see it's you see what's happened there? It's sticking into it. It's a bit difficult to roll. So if you just get your ball tool on the edge and just roll it around the edge. Now this is a method that we use for cold porcelain, because cold porcelain tends to stick and doesn't thin out by doing it the way that we do other flower paste. They use the rolling method like that instead of going round the edge like this and doing it in the normal way. See, that stuck a little bit there. I find with this paste sometimes it's a good idea to cut them out and leave them to stand a bit. They're easier to thin the edges if you just let it dry for a few minutes. Right, so once I've done those, the veiner that I've used is this one, which is a pansy Werner. Now the veining is very similar as well. If you've got a clematis leaf Werner, that can be used as well. That's a bit deeper veining, but that doesn't really matter. It's your leaves, it just depends on how you want them to look. So I'm just going to put that onto there. I'm going to put it up into the top there because that's where most of the veining is showing on this. These veiners, by the way, that I'm using here, this is one by Alderval. You can get these on eBay. There's a shop on there that sells them. Right, so once you've done that, then you just shape your leaf a little bit, and then that can go into your foam like that. So we'll just do the same thing with the larger one, which obviously is going to take up all of that veiner. It's just about the right size for the larger leaves is this. Take that out of there, turn that over, shape that up there like that, and then that wants to go into your foam like that. Okay, so once those have all dried, next thing I'm going to show you how to make is the tendrils. Now I have got some thin paste tape. I'm using quarter width tape for this. If I can find a piece. There we are. It's really thin is this. The quarter width. Very difficult to cut if you're doing it with scissors if you haven't got a cutter like mine. But these have, if you got them with the four, I keep two, one with all the blades in, which gives you 4/4, or take two of the blades out and you got half width tape then. So I'm going to start off by twisting the top like that. Now you stretch it and twist it at the same time so the glue holds it in place. Once you've done that, then just start twisting your tape like that, just rolling it between your fingers. This is slipping a little bit because I've got some grease on my hand from the white fat. And just keep twisting and stretching like that. Just roll it between your finger and your thumb. Now I've got enough there for what I want, so I'm just going to take that bit of tape off of there. And then if you've got the small cell stick or anything that's straight like that, hold it with your thumb like that and just wind it round like that onto there, and then just take that off. So there you've got your tendrils. I've just put them on the whiteboard so you can see it a bit better on there. Okay, you can put all those to one side, which I've already done. So we'll get some colour out now. Now with the sweet peas, whoops, just knocked one off. I should have one that's dry somewhere. Whatever I've done with it. Find what I've done with it. Knocked it off me pad somewhere. Oh, there it is. There's one of them, I started dusting it and I shouldn't have done. And I don't know which one it is, I don't know where it is, so what I'll do is I'll use one of these. So I've used a colour here called, I'm not sure whether this is Iris, which is one of the black tops from Edible Art. Anybody who hasn't looked at it before, it's Edible Art World of Colour.co.uk, and very reasonable on price, a lot cheaper than everybody else. Some of them are vastly expensive. I think they're vastly overpriced for what they are, and they don't always have as big a range of colours as the firm that I use. And I've lost my colour somewhere, whatever I've done with it. No, that's a blue one. I put it over here earlier on, and I've done my usual trick. There we are, I think that's the one. Yeah, that's the colour. So it's a sort of a lilac colour. It's one of the black tops. The one thing that I haven't mentioned before, these black top colours are not edible. But if you're doing flowers to go on a cake, I always tell people that they're not meant to be eaten anyway. So it doesn't matter if you use either the white tops, which are edible, or the ones that are black top, which are not edible. So I have got a brush here somewhere with the colour on it that I've used. I'm going to find what I've done with it. There we are, that one. Now with this particular flower, the colour's more on the back. So if you just start with the back and just pull round from the top edge like that, pull it down, and then just go across the top edge like that, just to make sure that you've got the colour showing on the edge. Now because this is flexible paste, when it comes to the inner petals, you can move that out of the way, so you can go around the edge on that as well. And I've just gone round the edge on that. I haven't bothered dusting the backs because you're not going to see it because it's on the inside. Like that. Okay? So that's those. The leaves, I'm just doing those in a green. So the colour that I've used for that is ginkgo. There's the brush. So I've got some ginkgo on here, and then just brush your leaves all over. And then turn it over, and without putting any more colour on your back, just give it a waft over the back like that. The backs of leaves are always lighter than the front. I haven't come across any leaves yet that do not follow that rule so far. I'm not saying that there aren't any that are the same colour on the back, but I haven't come across any. I think I need a bit more colour there. I've run out of powder on my kitchen roll here. Kitchen roll is so handy for so many different jobs, isn't it? Now you can varnish these if you want. They're not particularly over shiny, or you could make, if you want it to be duller like the actual flowers, then you could mix some glaze with the glaze cleaner. I would probably use a half glaze if I was going to do that with these. Mix some equal amounts of glaze and glaze cleaner. I have tried it with the alcohol, but I found it didn't work. It separated, so I wasn't very happy with that. You have to keep warming it so that it mixed together, so that was a waste of time. So you're better off using the isopropyl if you're going to do that. If you normally use alcohol, I would do it the other way. Right, so once you've done those, put the large ones together and the small ones together. I've got all my bits and pieces there, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to tape these together. I can get rid of that now, I think. And that. Get rid of those brushes. Move those out of the way. Not knock my glue over, which is what I did yesterday, and I had glue all over the place. Move all my bits and pieces, have a clear workspace. So I'm going to get a stiffer wire now to tape these onto, because if you tape them together they're a bit floppy. Now in reality they are quite floppy, but because if you want to put them into an arrangement it doesn't work. So I'm going to use a, where are we? A 22 gauge wire. Have I got one? Yes, I have. Got a 22 gauge white wire here, green wire here. We're going to tape it on with tape anyway. You're not going to see the colour of that. Now I think I'm going to use two there because They don't all work together. The tendrils, by the way, just in case anybody is querying what I've done with the tendrils, they actually are not just one piece like that. They're actually like a hand, sort of, with very fine pieces coming out on the actual flowers. But to do that in tape is a bit of a waste of time. So that's why I'm not doing it that way. I'm doing... Most people, when they make these, when they make the tendrils, that's how they make them. Right, so I've got 2 halves of pieces and 1 full one. So I'm going to start off by... I need some half-width tape. So I'm using half-width tape for everything that I'm doing here. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to start off with a tendril on the end here, because the leaves grow in pairs. So if I start off with a tendril there, come down a little bit, and then we'll put 2 leaves in facing each other. They all grow in pairs like this to the leaves. So whatever number of leaves that you decide to do, you're going to want them in pairs like this. Just tape down. Once you've done tape down a bit, you can get your leaves and pull them in so they're right down to the tape, like that. Then we'll put in another pair of leaves. I'm going to do these the opposite way round. Now, they seem to be sort of more or less together, but sometimes if you do things as they are in nature, they can look a bit false, if you know what I mean. So sometimes we just have to play around with them a little bit to get them just as you want them. I'm going to put another tendril in here. Oops. That one I've stretched it out a little bit, so that's getting ready to wrap itself around something. They start off straight and then they start to get curly as they cling on to whatever it is they're clinging on to. So I'm going to put a flower in here. Oops, that's come off the wire, so that's no good, is it? I'm leaving a little bit of a stem on. Now the stems would normally be longer than this. They have got quite long stems, as you know. You can have them as cut flowers. But because we're doing... How many of them have I got left? 2, 4, 6, right. I'm going to put some bigger leaves in below this. I'm going to put those in there. Like that. And then put one in facing. I'll open these leaves out once I get all the bits and pieces in together. And we'll put another flower in down here. My tape's got a bit folded round, so I stretched too much of it there. Put another couple of leaves in, put them in this way round. And I didn't pull those other 2 leaves down, I just realised. So just see if I can find out which is which. Pull them all down. And that one. That's it. I'm going to leave that one as it is, there. If I went off camera there, I apologise. I didn't look at my camera to see whether I did or I didn't. I never find out until afterwards, particularly when people are watching. So we'll just open that one out like that, bring that flower up, take that leaf out, bring that leaf out like that. That wants to go down a bit. Bring that flower out. Oops, that's come off the wire. No, I'm going to have to glue that one back on afterwards. See, things go wrong and I don't stop filming when they do go wrong. As anybody that's watched me before knows, anything goes wrong I leave it in, because there's no point in me showing you how to do things if I'm not going to show you how to rectify it. So what I'm going to do there is I'm going to glue that back on now. So I can leave that to one side now to dry. Put that down there. Now we'll put it up here. There we are. So we'll start off another one. Get my tape, flatten that out. Nip that in. And put a tendril in there. Tendrils don't have to be all the same, you can have all sorts of different variations of them. I'm just going to put one pair of the small ones in here, and this one. I'm not going to make them all exactly the same. And tape down. Put a pair of big larger ones in. Just pull those wires down that I've already put in. Put another larger one in facing it. The reason we do that and leave a bit of wire and then pull it down is so you don't damage your leaves. It's not so bad with the flexible paste because they're not as easily damaged as normal sugar flowers, which obviously are very brittle. So I'm going to put another tendril in. And another pair of leaves and a flower. That's going to go in at that side. Then one facing it. And I'm running out of leaves here. I'm just going to pull them out and I'm going to put a flower in here. Just pull those leaves down before I do that. Then I know which wires are which. That's it. And tape down. Open that leaf out, and that one, and that one, and those two there. There we are. So that's that one done. I've only put one flower in there. We'll just bring that out like that. Put that to one side, and I need another piece of tape. And we start off with the long wire. Oops, that's not a 20 gauge, 22 gauge wire. It's a bit thick. I got the wrong one there. I'm not going to get at that one. Right, we'll use that one then. I mean, if I was doing a spray like this, you're probably going to fasten it so it's laying down the cake anyway. If you're putting it on a cake or laying it on top of the cake, whichever position you prefer. And I've got my tape on the wrong side. I've got the sticky side on the outside. Do that again. Again, just to remind you, don't forget, if you've got any questions about anything that I'm doing, leave them in the comments below and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. I love to hear back from people, even if it's just, if you're just enjoying the thing. I've got one lady that tells me every time I've done a video that she's enjoying it, you know, and it's lovely to hear from people like that. Just have to start that off again. There's one or two people, some of my ex-students, leave comments from when I taught at Bradford College. Oops, that didn't stay in. Right, a couple of leaves in there. Sometimes you just find it's a bit difficult to get it started because my fingers are getting sticky, so I think what I'm going to do in a minute, I'm going to break off and go and wash my hands, and I will come back and finish the rest of it for you. So I'm just going to leave that to one side and I'll come back to it with that when I've washed my hands. Right, I'm back. I'm just going to fix that flower that I lost the off the wire. So just pop that wire back into there. That's it. Put that to one side. Right. So I need to put my second lot of leaves in and a flower. Put that round that way. I'm going to put another tendril in there. A couple of larger leaves. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to add these wires in a bit lower down there. I'm going to add that in where the leaves are at the base of the that one there. Tape down a bit, and then put the other one in where the leaves join there. Just going to bring that tape back up to there under those leaves. That's it, and take it down. I'm just going to put another flower in there. I haven't got any leaves to put in under it, but never mind. And tape down to the base of those wires there. Take that tape off and we can cut that bit of wire off there. There we are. Now we can open this out. So I'm just gonna, should have some pliers somewhere. There they are. Just pull that one out there. I always like to bend the wires around a little bit as well. Don't leave them straight because things don't grow straight in nature. Bring that flower out. And this is where the long nose pliers come in handy. And bring that one out that way a bit, like that. Turn it round that way. Open those leaves out. And open those leaves out on that one. Just bring that flower around there and just bring that up like that. Open that leaf out there. You just need to just play around with it until you just get things as you want them. Twist that flower around. That's it. Open those leaves out. So there we are. There are my sweet peas. Just move those out of the way. Well, I hope you've enjoyed the video and you come back to see me soon. I haven't decided what I'm going to do next, but as I said before, if anybody's got any ideas about anything they'd like to see, please let me know, and I'll try and fit that in. So, and don't forget, as I said before, don't forget to subscribe to the channel, and if there's any questions you've got about anything, then please leave them in the comments below and I'll get back to you. So take care, see you soon, stay safe.